What's the crack, lads? And welcome back to another Player of the Week review. Yes, some more Player of the Weeks, lads. There is a couple of nice players in here, especially if you're a newcomer. A lot of the content now is being kind of recycled, I think, with the view of a next big, huge update that's going to be coming. You would imagine quite soon. We'll have news on it quite soon. But yeah, if you are a newcomer, obviously you will be probably happy enough with a lot of these because you get 3 spins. As you see there, you get 3 spins, 100 coins for a spin, and you get a random any of these cards. You've got 11 chances of getting the likes of Haaland. So if you are a newcomer, I know a lot of newcomers are messaging me, asking me questions. I will have a couple of more beginner guides videos coming out as well, just covering the basics and stuff in the pitch as well as off the pitch. So for this worldwide Player of the Week for January 26th, we've got a nice selection. We've got Haaland, we've got Bowen, we've got Porro, got Lorenzo, Mario, Murray, Savic, Mitoma, Nketiah, Wind, and Toni Kroos, right? So straight off the rip, right, I think unless you have unless you have a pretty poor team, unless you're just starting off and you've just literally downloaded the game over the last day or two, you can probably ignore, I would say, these 3 guys if you do get them. Obviously, you can play him in your squad, but this guy's got inconsistent form. He's only got 82 goalkeeper reflexes. He is a giant in the net, and he does have a long throw and low punt, so those are nice. But trust me, lads, those stats are just way too low. They're way too low. Just save up and buy somebody like Magnan or even Lafont when you're starting off, if you can't afford the likes of Donnarumma. But you should be able to afford Donnarumma after like maybe a week of playing. Jean Mario as well. This guy's got 93 speed. He's got 85 stamina. Defensively, he's pretty average. But he does have only standard form. And the stats that he does have here are more suited towards kind of like a winger, really, where you look at his playable positions, which is quite unusual. But yeah, the rest of his stats aren't that good. I mean, he's not bad, but there's just so many good right backs in the game. You get Reece James or somebody like that, obviously, whoever's on form, you're going to be able to make mincemeat of this guy. So yeah, if you do get him, I would probably not have him in your squad either, as well as this guy. You know, just too slow. 85 finishing is kind of the average what you need for a striker that's very slow. 77 acceleration, 84 offensive awareness, and an average height. Balance and stamina will kill this card as well. So that's a bit of a disappointing card, you know, unless you're a fan of the player. Now, moving on to a couple that I'm actually quite like that I would recommend, right? So Mitoma is a guy that I had on my Hidden Gem series when eFootball 2022 first launched. He had so many player skills. He was absolutely electric on the pitch. He's on A rating with this card, obviously, so you know that he's going to be fire. 85 acceleration, I would have probably given that maybe 88 with 85 speed to make this card even more OP. Because the Player of the Week should be the best version of the player. But the rest of his stats are really good. 88 dribbling, really good. But trust me, lads, his stats, he plays way above his stats. He's kind of like Corona or Munain, plays way above his stats, where, you know, you might think he's only got 85 acceleration there. When you look at it, obviously he has, but he plays like as quick as an 88 or 89. It just would have been nice to have the visual in his stats there, in my opinion. And De Lorenzo, another fantastic player on A form. I know a lot of people are raving about him. He was obviously on one of my budget player right backs for all budgets as well. His standard version is quite overpowered as well when you train him up, but this version is trained up quite nicely. I would say that I would prefer his speed a little bit higher, or his stamina and speed a little bit higher for, you know, an end game right back. But for starting off, for mid game, he is a very, very good player as well. Then we've also got mixed in with these 3 guys, including Toni Kroos, who I think is just, again, not going to be one of the guys that you really, take into your finalised squad. I think there's a lot of different players out there. This guy is a right midfielder. He's a cross specialist. His acceleration lets him down. His low pass is only 80. If you aren't a fast player and you've maxed out and you can't train him up anymore, then what's the point in having this guy here? Now, he does have early crosser and pinpoint crossing, and I know that he does have unwavering form, so you're going to have a player that's going to be on A pretty much 9 times out of 10 when you play with him, which is always good, especially on a week-to-week basis. But he's just got some very weird stats, man, like 86 kicking power and 87 stamina for right midfielder. Obviously, 80 stamina would be enough for this guy, but you can just use him as a workhorse, obviously. He is a very kind of average right midfielder. A lot of these Player of the Weeks are average, in my opinion. They're probably one of the most disappointing selections. Wind as well. This guy's a centre forward. You see there, he is fairly tall, but there's just so many players there that are able to play this role. You know, you've got the free collar that was released on the eFootball points shop. This guy does have unwavering form. He does a first time shot and one touch pass, which is a nice little combination for him as a deep line forward. He's not a fox in the box or a goal scoring like threat really. He kind of plays like a kind of an assist guy as well. Physical contact is nice, heading is nice, jumping is nice. It's a nice card. It's a nice card. It's just that there's so many different cards out there that can compete with it for free, you know. We've also got Eddie Nketiah. He's been absolutely beastly. He's got super sub. He's probably my pick of him with De Lorenzo. I would say the two of them, obviously Haaland is in his own category. But super sub, one touch pass, first time shot, double touch, excellent skills, excellent player skills and stats. 88 balance, 88 acceleration, 82 finishing, you know, perfect. If you don't have Kubo, if you didn't get Kubo that released a couple of weeks ago, the player of the week Kubo, or you didn't get Gabby Jesus from the selection in the nominating contracts, then this guy, if you do get him, he is a brilliant goal poacher. And yeah, I'd like to get him myself and see what he plays like on the pitch. I guarantee you he'll be an absolute monster. We also have Bowen. Bowen is a fairly good player as well. He's kind of, look, I mean, this is kind of, I think, the problem with the game at the moment is that there's so many players out there that players like this as a 93 overall, like there's no real excitement there with him because there's just a better version of a card out there. That's just there, you know, either by GP or you can train him up max, which I do like. But the player of the weeks, in my opinion, should be very unique cards. Like they should have unique play styles, unique player skills. They should have unwavering form. They should have a, you know, something that separates them out instead of just buying the standard version of them. I know that they've, you know, balanced it quite well, but I would like to see a more unique version of the card. Like that is just going to be like, yeah, well, I have to get that version of the card because he's got this stat, you know, even if it was like 90 low pass here where you could bring this card up massively. But yeah, he's a very unusual card as well. Obviously, you're going to be shooting with him as a left footer. He's got massive stamina for an SS, so I probably wouldn't play him there, and 89 acceleration. So if you don't have Simmons, he would be a good option in the hole. And then we've got Tony Cruz, brilliant passing, excellent passing and ball control. Yeah, he's a very solid centre midfielder. You can play him as a deep line centre midfielder and just spray the ball around unwavering. He's got super sub as well, so if you were looking to bring him on in the second half, you know, you bring him on in 60 minutes, gone. You've got long range passing, you know, one touch passing, true passing, weighted passing, everything that you could possibly want. And he's going to get the boost with super sub as well. Yeah, very, very solid card. And then we've got Haaland. So Haaland has been absolutely tearing up the Premier League, lads. His goal scoring is just out of this world. Unbelievable. I think he's 25 goals already in the Premier League, which is ridiculous. Yeah, this is one of the best versions of Haaland. I mean, obviously it's very similar to the one that they released before in terms of it's a repeated card. But 93 finishing, 90 speed, 90 kicking power, and 90 physical contact. But I would have liked to see his balance up a bit. His balance doesn't really come into it if you just use him as a kind of run and gun, turn and shoot kind of player. That's where he excels. You know, I do miss having Haaland up front when his form is down. This guy's got A rating, so everyone's going to be using him. But yeah, he's probably the pick. So I would say there is probably three good players there. Matomo I'd probably put into that as well. De Lorenzo, Haaland is Haaland, obviously, and Nketiah. Like, there are some good players there, but it just depends on whether you want to spin or not. So let me know, lads, are you going to spin or skip? It is, in my opinion, a disappointing enough week in terms of the legends and in terms of the player of the weeks, because we just have so many good players in the positions that are good there. You know, we've got Guti, we've got Zico. But let me know. Check out another video. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back quite soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you in a bit. Peace.